So this is Kat Schreier here. Let me put me on there. Kat Schreier, WaterCitizen News. And I'm here with Eileen ONeill, the Executive Director of Water Environment Federation. And we're here at the first day at WEFTEC. We just saw the opening session. We were at workshops this morning, or yesterday with EPA on the innovation clusters. But this morning there was a real difference in how you guys kicked off your session. Tell us a little bit about who you had this morning and why you went in this direction instead of the standard, here's what's happening in the water industry.
Well, first of all, this is our chance to get everyone inspired and fired up and ready to be open and listen and absorb during the week. But also, we're trying to think about the future of the water profession and the needs of water professionals. So our focus this morning was about personal stories and mentoring and diversity. So we had an incredible STEM teacher who took kids to a national robotics competition and won, and these children were they were Hispanic, of Mexican origin. So incredible story of diversity and the value of mentoring and facilitation. And then we also had a facilitator and 3 women tell the stories of their profession and how they got into water and have thrived as water leaders through mentoring and giving back and making connections. So our idea is to both highlight water and water careers, but also think about bringing in the next generation of professionals and developing them, and the importance of embracing diversity as we do that. So that's what we're trying to do, as well as get people pumped up for a great week.
Yeah. So it definitely got people pumped up, I think. Is this just about minorities? Is it just about women? Is it just about young people? Or one of the things about this conference, it is continuing education, correct?
Yes, it's also continuing education. We all are going to need to keep our skills sharp, and we know now that it's not just the hard technical solutions. They can be challenging sometimes, but it's developing those soft skills. And we all know that the issues of the multi-generations in the workforce and the value of having a diverse workforce, and certainly that's some of the things that I deal with in my organization, and I'm pretty pumped up having heard some of those stories this morning, and it makes me think about how can I help develop my young staff and staff in my own organization.
How many people roughly are here?
Well,
we don't have an exact head count.
Over 20,000.
Over 20,000.
Over 20,000. We're hoping to be up around 2022. But one thing we think about is not just being the biggest, though we are the biggest annual water quality event in the world. We want to be the best and the most impactful. So we don't just measure in terms of size, though we, as I say, we are pretty proud to be the biggest, but we want to have an impact and contribute both to the profession and to help the water sector advance its goals. So that's one of the things we're doing in terms of WEFTEC. We want to engage the profession, get people that, as you say, that continuing education, but also take those opportunities maybe to get a little press coverage for the great things that are being done in the water sector and get the word out.
One of the things that was a common theme that we heard yesterday in the Innovation Pavilion, or the Innovation Clusters workshop, was especially from the panel from Houston, and hearing from the head of Houston Water and Wastewater Utilities, just dealing with that overwhelm of literally being overwhelmed by the water in the floods, and Yvonne Forrest said something about you feeling so alone, and I know. George Hawkins from DC Water, as he's stepping down, he's talking about continuing the profession as a coach for other water leaders. What does events like this, and what does just the connection between water leaders do in helping each other, especially in times of crisis?
Well, we know we have a history within the water sector of helping one another in times of crisis. Even before we had the warn systems, when Katrina came or when 9/11, people couldn't do enough to help their colleagues. So the idea is to bring out the best in all of us when there isn't a crisis, and see what we can learn from one another. And what I hear is that it's really those personal connections. And I'm an environmental scientist. I came to water through coming to WEF, and so I feel highly qualified to say water people are different, and they feel that it's not a cause, it's a career. And I have the privilege of working with so many people who are volunteering to give their time back to make the profession and the sector even better. So it's really a privilege to work.
Awesome. And we've been trying to collect the stories that people were posting. One thing we noticed different from any other crisis is folks like Clarence from Whitworth from Corpus Christi posting every single day what he and his staff are doing during that hurricane. You know, people are using their own social media platforms to get the word out, directly becoming citizen water journalists effectively.
Fantastic.
We created something called the Hurricane Home for Hippies, hurricane impacted people on Facebook to be able to gather those stories. And you all are doing something for the hurricane efforts.
Well, we're doing what little we can. One of the things I think it'll evolve out over time how we can contribute and how we can think about lessons learned and how we can make more resilient infrastructure. But we're trying to do the little that we can. Obviously, if people can't make it to WEFTEC, we're relaxing all of our refund rules. We are extending the membership of members whose membership in WEF is expiring over the next few months from anywhere that's been affected by natural disaster, be it the Caribbean, be it Mexico, be it Florida, be it Texas. So they don't have to worry about that, just extending their membership. And then we're giving the sector the opportunity to come together and raise money and donate either to the Red Cross or our Water Environment Association of Texas established its own fund to help with utilities and recovery there. So we're getting the information out there, and I'm really proud that our board pledged $10,000 to sort of kick things off there. So we're doing what we can. We're doing what we can.
Great. Well, thank you so much. It's an exciting week, and we'll be here all week, and I appreciate your time. Take care.
Thanks so much.